Destiny Payton has finally spoken out, and the silence she's been holding onto for so long is now echoing across the Love and Marriage, Huntsville fandom. For months, maybe even years, people have been labeling her, dragging her, and painting her as the angry friend, the ungrateful castmate, and even the enemy of Melody Shari. But in Destiny's words, she's been misunderstood, misrepresented, and in many ways, mistreated. She's tired of carrying the weight of being portrayed as a villain in a story she feels she never wrote. When she decided to break her silence, she didn't come with anger, she came with truth, and that truth has stirred emotions all over social media. From the start, Destiny was one of the most promising personalities on Love and Marriage, Huntsville. She was bold, confident, beautiful, and real, the kind of woman who didn't hold her tongue and always stood 10 toes down in what she believed. But over time, fans started seeing cracks in the friendships that once seemed unbreakable. The biggest fracture: her fallout with Melody Shari. For so long, that situation has been talked about, debated, and dissected by fans who felt like Destiny was jealous, bitter, or even plotting against Melody. But in her own words, Destiny now says the world never saw the full story. What we saw on screen was edited, clipped, and shaped to fit a narrative that didn't reflect her heart. She spoke about how difficult it was to watch people she thought were her friends distance themselves, especially after she went through a divorce that left her emotionally drained. Destiny explained that during that time, she was trying to rebuild her life as a single mother while also running a business and still showing up for filming. But instead of compassion, she says she felt judgment. The cameras caught moments of her frustration, but not the late nights when she cried, the stress of financial struggles, or the loneliness of feeling isolated in a space that once felt like home. According to Destiny, being part of Love and Marriage, Huntsville became less about sharing her real journey and more about defending her character. She described how hurtful it was to be constantly compared to Melody, someone she once called a friend. Fans often accused her of turning against Melody, but Destiny says that couldn't be further from the truth. She said their friendship ended long before the show ever portrayed it, and even then, it wasn't about drama. It was about two women who grew apart, who stopped communicating, and who found themselves on different paths. But what really broke Destiny's heart was how people began bullying her online, calling her names, and attacking her business, all because of her association with the Melody and Martell saga. She said it felt like she was being punished for other people's choices. Destiny recalled moments when she wanted to speak up, to defend herself, but was advised to stay quiet, to let it play out. But that silence only made things worse. Every episode that aired seemed to chip away at her reputation. She says she would scroll through social media and see thousands of comments calling her fake, messy, or bitter, and that took a toll on her. "It hurts when people judge you based on something that's edited," she said. "They don't see the real me, the mother, the woman who's trying to heal." And you could hear the exhaustion in her voice, not just from the drama, but from years of holding back her side of the story. When Destiny opened up about being bullied, she wasn't just talking about social media trolls. She was also referring to how she felt pushed out within her own circle on the show. She said there were moments when she felt cornered, when conversations turned into attacks, and when her emotions were labeled as aggression. She said, "When I speak with passion, it's called anger. When I defend myself, it's called drama. But when others do it, it's seen as standing up for themselves." That statement resonated with many fans who understood the double standard. Destiny made it clear that she's not perfect, she's made mistakes, said things out of frustration, and reacted in ways she wishes she hadn't, but that doesn't mean she deserved to be villainized. That in her conversation, Destiny also mentioned Martell Holt. She explained that her friendship with Martell was never about taking sides. In her eyes, she was simply being loyal to both people who were once close to her. She didn't feel like she had to choose between Melody and Martell. But fans saw it differently. Whenever Destiny appeared friendly toward Martell, she was immediately accused of betraying Melody. Destiny said that made her question why women are so often forced to pick sides when relationships end. "Why can't I still be cordial with someone without it being seen as an alliance?" she asked. It's a valid question, and it shows how the show's drama has spilled far beyond the screen. she also talked about the business side of things, how being on a reality show while managing a real business can be draining. People forget that behind the camera, she's a mother and entrepreneur trying to keep things afloat. The constant criticism and online negativity began affecting her brand and her confidence. She said, "People stopped supporting my business because they believed what they saw on TV." That line hit hard. It's one thing to deal with shade or gossip, but it's another when it starts impacting your livelihood. Destiny said there were moments when she wanted to walk away from it all, to leave reality TV behind and rebuild in peace, but something in her kept pushing her to stay and show her truth. As Destiny continued to unpack her feelings, she admitted that one of her biggest regrets was not being more open with the audience from the beginning. She said she often held back details about her personal life because she wanted to protect her privacy, but that decision backfired. Fans started filling in the blanks with their own assumptions. People began creating narratives that she was hiding something or being secretive for the wrong reasons. But Destiny said her silence was a form of self-protection. She didn't want to be defined by a divorce or reduced to her conflicts with Melody or Martell. She wanted to be known for her strength and her growth, but the show's editing made it hard for people to see that. Destiny also acknowledged that reality TV isn't for the faint of heart. She said you have to be emotionally strong to survive the scrutiny that comes with it. But even with all her strength, there were times when she broke down privately. She spoke about moments of prayer, moments when she questioned why God put her in that position, and moments when she felt like giving up. Yet every time, she found a reason to keep going, whether it was her son, her supporters, or her faith. She said, "At the end of the day, I know who I am. I don't need TV to validate that." And that statement summed up everything, a woman rediscovering her identity after years of being defined by someone else's storyline. When she talked about Melody, there was no bitterness in her tone, just disappointment. Destiny said she wished things could have been different. She said she still has love for Melody and respects the good moments they shared, but she also has to protect her peace now. She made it clear that she's no longer chasing reconciliation or trying to prove herself. She's focused on her growth and her happiness. That kind of maturity shows how much she's evolved from the version of herself that fans used to criticize. Destiny's words weren't just about defending herself, they were about reclaiming her narrative. She also addressed how being labeled angry became one of her biggest frustrations. She said it's exhausting when your emotions are constantly misinterpreted. "I can't even have a normal disagreement without people saying I'm aggressive," she said. And that comment opened up a larger conversation about how black women on reality TV are often portrayed. Fans pointed out how easily confident women are turned into villains, while others are allowed to cry, break down, and still be viewed as victims. Destiny's story highlights that imbalance perfectly. She was vocal, strong, and assertive, yet those traits were weaponized against her. Destiny's reflections went beyond just the drama. She talked about healing. She said that one of the hardest parts of being misunderstood is learning not to let it consume you. She's had to practice forgiveness, not just for others, but for herself. She said she's learning to let go of grudges and focus on becoming the best version of herself. That means moving in silence, choosing peace over pettiness, and not responding to every rumor or insult. She said, "Sometimes silence is the loudest answer." And now that she's speaking up again, her words are hitting differently, not from a place of defense, but from self-awareness. Destiny also addressed the narrative that she used the show or tried to ride on Melody's popularity. She said that couldn't be further from the truth. She had her own story, her own struggles, and her own dreams long before joining the cast. The problem was that people only wanted to see her through the lens of someone else's friendship. It's a reality many supporting cast members face, being overshadowed by the main star. But Destiny made it clear that she's not living in anyone's shadow. She's writing her own story now, and it's one filled with lessons, losses, and a new kind of resilience. The way Destiny spoke about redemption was powerful. She said she's not chasing approval anymore. She knows not everyone will understand her journey, and that's okay. She's walking in her truth now, and she's finally free from the weight of public perception. Destiny said, I'm no longer explaining myself to people who are committed to misunderstanding me. That statement alone could be a chapter in her book, a declaration of self-worth and emotional growth after everything she's been through.